Uh, where did it go?
And hey,
We're
everyone.
here. We're here.
Here.
I
Here.
find it. There it is.
Yeah.
My brain's not at full capacity, but welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod. We're going to try to be funny and maybe be smart podcast tonight, covering all things new in classic Trek. Experience Beige. I am your captain, Mariah Gossett. With me on the view screen, we have
Clyde Haynes. Hey, I really wanted to play a drinking game with the watch along tonight that we took shots every time someone said patak. It's a lot of fun. We had a great time.
That's a good rule. It's a good rule for a rewatch.
Love it. Love it. And I'm Paul Pain Stick to touch it.
What level paint stick, though?
Exactly.
Oh, Paul's red. He's a red paint stick.
Right. Everyone needs to cling on. Get it?
I'm surprised you didn't do like a wife joke.
We are here. We are going to discuss season 5, episode 4 of Star Trek Lower Decks.
Yeah, we're here. Everyone, we're fun. We're happy.
We're
Everything's
here.
great.
Everything
Star Trek!
Lower
Decks.
It's like, maybe like the Bell Riot state was just slightly off. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if we got to follow the path to get to the future we want, unfortunately, we got to crawl through a lot of muck to get there. But you can hang out with us today, tonight, whenever you're listening to this, watching this. We hope you are safe wherever you are. We hope you are surrounded by community that loves and appreciates you. And we know it is a week. It is,
like everyone, just hold on to your people, hold on to your Latinum. It's going to be great.
Great.
I don't know about great.
It's gonna be great.
I think it's more going to be the bloodworms that they harvested for this wine tonight. But you can share this show with a friend who maybe also needs something to lighten the mood. We are going to try to be funny and silly as much as possible. So if you're looking for a little bit of escapism tonight, we're going to try to provide that for you. As I said last week, some things are updating with Patreon because of their new deal with Apple. You'll be getting a message if you are a patron about those changes coming soon, but you can still join us over there. It's a great time to join because it'll be a low monthly fee as we start with this changeover, and then we'll kind of figure out the systems in place. We're working with Patreon to get that all figured out as they work to comply with the Apple App Store. If you are hanging out with us live tonight, Clyde, how can people tell us what they're feeling, what their thoughts are? What do they want to let us know?
I mean, write anything that you want to tell us on a bar of Latinum, and we'll eventually take a look at it. No, seriously, that was fairly lame. I've had better ones. So just type capital P, capital O, capital D, capital pod in the chat, and we'll take a look at your musings, your thoughts, your questions, your comments, your critiques. And in a moment, we might even have you type capital H, capital F, capital HF if you have a succinct overall thought about today's episode.
Indeed. Okay. Paul, everyone's letting you know there is a crystalline entity behind you at the moment.
Yeah,
just so
no. How many lights? Lights?
I will say this to Mariah's comment about the Patreon. Now's a great time to get in. I had a chance to do a watch along. So a group of us got together and watched this episode kind of before the pod. We did it at, I guess it was about an hour and a half ago. And it was a great time. Like, what's better than watching Star Trek? Watching Star Trek with friends. So we offer that to our patrons who, part of our Slack. We open up a Slack and we chat along while watching the episode. And we had a blast. There were some funny jokes. So come on, join our Patreon and then come on and do some watch alongs with us.
Indeed. It is a good time. And speaking of a good time, it might be time for, if I can find it, some hot freaks. I figured we had to do the beard transition hot freaks video. It's a classic.
Yeah, I wonder if we could get a Boimler hot freak with the
maybe if I have some time, I can
beard,
an ever-growing beard. That would be fun. If someone wants to make that, I would love that so much. All right, Paul, what did you think about this episode?
I thought the episode was mixed.
Hmm.
I thought I really liked the Klingon part. I didn't care about the food part, but I've never been a Miglimo fan. So I feel like, oh, is that a hot Paul?
Hot, Paul.
For me, it's I don't know what's happening. Like, and not only has this been an interesting week, but Paul and I agree 100% with each other. That's
Yeah.
just
Wow.
freaky.
If only this was the same way our politics went this week.
Ooh, boo. Yeah. So I thought it was, like I liked the Klingon part in the sense that I feel whoa, what's wrong with my voice? I'm sorry. I'm in Atlanta right now, so and the air is dry and blah blah blah, and I'm sleepy. But what was I gonna say? The
Miglimo.
the Miglimo part took away from some of what the other thing could be doing. Does that make sense? Like, like we had the peanut hamper episode where there's just peanut hamper.
Yeah, there was no B plot. Yeah.
And so, like, I kind of felt like that could have been a little deepened more. Whereas I don't mind if it being split, but like it just seems so not a thing. Oh, this is gross. This is gross. Oh, we lost our taste buds. That seems so Scooby Dooey. Scooby Doo. Is that a dog? Scooby Dooey.
It is indeed. Yeah, I mean, I also wasn't as like attached to the Miglimo storyline, but I did think it was so silly that I just was here for it in my state of mind and in this being. It's also the first confirmation we got of Miglimo's like species and some backstory to that species. So I always love when Lower Decks does give us that opportunity to do those things. And like this episode, we got to go deep on other like cultures, which I thought was really fun. And overall, the whole episode's theme was like teamwork makes the dream work, which I also felt like I needed this week. So thank you, Lower Decks. Some messages from the menagerie. Another thing, if you are a member of our Patreon, you can let us know what you thought of these episodes in the Slack. So if you can't join us for the live stream, you can still hear your messages here on the podcast. I think this got cut off. This is from Kyun, who said, my mood may be clouding things, but this episode just didn't do it for me. It was nice to see Maha again, but I missed a good Batlet fight. Clyde, you want to read the next one?
Sure. Karen says, as soon as it opened, as it did, reminded me of the one-off Peanut Hamper episode, I knew it would be a different episode. Gorgeous scenery. Not one of the Easter egg filled types, but I really enjoyed the story. Both A and B plots were about support and working together. No surprise, I love Ma because I love him. He and Mariner have great chemistry. He called her Little Warrior.
Super cute. Paul, do you want to read the next one?
This is from Speech Balloon.
It's from Carmen.
No, Speech Balloon. Carmen says, it was fun seeing Ma again. I enjoyed the Klingon humor. Boimler's silly chocolate milk-like mustache cracks me up.
Indeed. What are we thinking about Mustache Watch 2024 on Boimler?
I mean, it's a little better than that peach fuzz thing he had going a while back, but I just don't know about this whole mustache thing.
I mean, I think it'll be interesting once we get to full beard Boimler.
Yeah, I will say that when we were watching it during the watching, like Carmen mentioned that his stash looked like it was from drinking chocolate milk, which almost made me spit out my water as I was watching it. So
it's very John Waters-esque.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. That's a good analogy.
That's pretty fun. Okay, let's dig into this episode. So this episode is called, I did not write down what it's what it's called. Good job, Mariah. It is a farewell to farms. I know, I was like, I know it's not a farewell to arms, but then I couldn't remember what the last word was. Farewell to Farms, which is it's a spoof on Farewell to Arms, which is a book about World War I. Very interesting. Grab there. This is written by Diana Tay, directed by Megan Lloyd. And I dug around, and I do believe this is the first foray into the production of blood wine. It's never been confirmed before this, that it is actually made with blood.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, so it's from those worms that we see Klingons often snacking on. Apparently they have a high sugar content, so that makes sense actually with the idea of production of wine. So way to go.
So gok wine.
Yeah, it's essentially gok wine.
It definitely felt like I was watching an episode of if Jean-Luc Picard was a Klingon,
I
what
think that
his
was
life on Earth would be like. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the whole opening sequence felt a lot like the opening sequence to the first season of Picard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what I thought was like I thought it was going to be like a Boimler and his raisin farm parallel.
Yeah.
Not about that too.
We've seen a
But
lot
there weren't
of
any girls trying to, sleep with Maha.
No, there's just a pig that he had to wrangle.
Targ.
A targ. And then we I thought it was really funny when he was like, oh, it's just a scammer. It's just a Ferengi
scammer. That was hilarious. That was kind of funny.
So funny. I am glad to see Maha again from a classic, the episode from last season. I thought him and Mariner's chemistry and like their work together to become better people last season, and I was excited to see him again for this one. We get to see him deliver wine to a bar where, I don't know, did y'all catch the voice of the flirty Kellara? Did you catch who that was?
Did not. No.
It's Mary Chieffo.
Is it Mary Chieffo?
Yes.
I've never met Mary Chieffo. Clyde, have you?
I've not.
Mariah, have you?
She's really lovely, and today is her birthday, so shouts to Mary Chieffo.
Happy birthday, Mary.
Yeah. Well, where'd you meet Mary?
I mean, I first met Mary at Star Trek Day, but now we work on stuff together from time to time.
I could have met Mary Chieffo. Mary Chieffo seems like she'd be a cool person to hang out with.
She's a very cool person to hang out with. I got to chat with her a lot at Jesse Gender's movie premiere, where we kind of chit-chatted the most. So
I don't know why. I feel like I'm not really into pickleball, but if Mary Chieffo invited me to play pickleball, she seems like she might be like really wicked in pickleball, and I'd be like, yeah, I'd play with you. I don't know why I feel that way, but
I don't know if I would get pickleball vibes from her, but I could see that any hang with her is a good time. So anytime.
Have some pickleball, have a couple beers. I'd hang with Mary Chieffo.
Yeah, but I'm so glad to see her back in the Star Trek universe. Definitely missed seeing her around. And then, as we were talking about Miglimo, our B plot, we do get the reveal that their species is called the Cloaken, which is a very funny. It's literally a poop joke. Did y'all get that? It's a poop joke.
No, I did not get it.
Do you know what a cloaca is?
Is it poop?
It's the one. It's the one. So for birds, it's the one hole where everything comes out.
Sure. It's a pee poop.
Yeah.
The pee hole.
I gotta say, I'm with Paul. Like, I'm just not in the Migley mood, like at all. Like, if I'm completely honest, every time he shows up in a scene, part of me just goes, ugh. So
I think it would be fun to imagine him though. Like, I thought it was like the idea that they learned space travel to explore strange new dishes and like foods, which I feel like for us should be something we all aspire to as well. Half this podcast is food talk.
No, it's like I go, for as much as I eat, I am not a strange new food person.
Not a strange new food person.
Like I eat things that I know, but like I don't go looking for like sewer rat stew or or something new like hogfish or something whatever, right?
Yeah, but is it just because we live in a place where you can identify almost every kind of food?
Well, like, so I am my parents are from Thailand. I'm an American. Thank you.
Just making that clear for anyone who's listening from an administration soon to come.
But like Thailand boasts of like one of the most food varieties that you can have, and so like in the north, like there are all these markets and a lot of them have like big water bugs, and I go like, I'm not there for that. But I'll eat a crab because I'm socialized to be okay with a crab. But for
Yeah,
some reason,
a crab is just a sea bug.
wow, thanks, Mariah. It's like I don't know that, and like
Listen,
I'm telling you like my internal like
Yeah. No, I get it.
malprogramming, and you're just like, oh well, have you thought of this?
I
Thank
made
you.
crabs. I made crab on like Monday, and it was fantastic. I did a good job
Wow,
with it.
that's great,
I'm just
Clyde.
saying, it was delicious. I mean,
How'd you prepare it? Welcome to Crab Talk.
crab talk. I use the Instapot. So I have a recipe for the Instapot with just a little water, some salt. You can flavor it, and then I want
Are you
it
putting some
good. So
Tony
you
Zachary's in there?
ah,
Some Old Bay.
a little Old Bay. Occasionally,
Okay.
I'll do some Old Bay. I mean, I am black, so occasionally I just like to put some Lowry seasoned salt in there
Oh, gotta
because
have some Lowry's. Yeah.
that's how I do it. And then I like it where you can have it with butter or without.
Mhm.
But so don't knock my crab, man, Paul. I'm just saying.
Like I literally said that like I think
I mean, I've
water
eaten raw
bugs-
crab with Paul. Yeah.
like,
okay, I'm not doing that.
see, don't knock the crab of my heritage, Clyde. Okay, this is Crab Talk with Paul and Mariah, and not Clyde.
I mean, I think the only bug I've eaten crickets, stuff made with crickets before.
I've eaten crickets. I've eaten scorpion. Like
What about crawfish? Would you consider crawfish a bug?
Like anything that's in the water is fine. But like when I look at like the bugs that are in Thailand, I go like, oh, this looks horrific to me. Partly because they're the size of your face, but like it just and it's but it's just protein. It's just like it's just I'm conditioned to think of it as not food.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. But would you eat any of the things that Miglimo prepared on this episode?
Well,
the mac and cheese with the little breadcrumbs on top. Heck yeah, man.
Yeah. I was like, that steak also looked pretty good.
It did.
I actually don't trust how like food connoisseury that the Cloakens are. Like and maybe because I'm kind of like I'm kind of prejudiced, but I think that animals with teeth have better taste buds.
I did like their little instruments to make it essentially into tiny little bites.
But
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I feel like anything that has a gizzard, basically, like I don't think I think that's a good system.
Yeah, I mean I feel like pretty it's kind of a funny idea that these are birds that specifically seek out like high culinary like experiences or like a bird species when I feel like every bird I've ever encountered in the wild just wants to eat whatever I leave on a picnic table.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why they're evolved, right?
They are evolved.
Yeah.
But back to our Klingon. So essentially, Maha has been, stripped of his captaincy because of his crew mutineering last season, and now he's been working on this farm. And Mariner is like, I'm going to help you get your captaincy back. We're going to go do this specific tradition because you all have so many traditions. And Boimler's like really on board with the full Klingon experience. What did you think of his enthusiasm throughout this episode?
Like I'm digging it, but it's not a yes and, it's a like sure but, which is a type of ice cream. Boom! Sure, bae, sure but.
Gotcha.
Welcome to Ice Cream Talk. Yeah. Like no, but
can I drop go ahead.
I don't know where it's coming from, and we can say it's coming from the pad, but is it though? Like it just seems kind of.
I have a theory.
Okay, here we go.
We got a Mariah theory. So towards the end, we see the reveal that like Mariner kind of set this all up because she needed access to a captain who would let her go through Klingon space, right? In order to study these rifts. And then she's like, oh, well, now it's not just like a natural phenomenon. We think someone's creating these rifts. And I'm like, what if it is something that new, overly confident Boimler in the future does because it's been riffed from taking a pad from another dimension? Like, did the pad cross and like some actions that Boimler is going to take causing these rifts, because Boimler essentially is like, like sometime in the future is going to realize he did something wrong by taking the pad and is now trying to give the pad back, and is creating all these rifts to try to like go back and
Wow,
fix his
that's a theory.
mistakes.
I love it.
I
love
like
it.
that.
I like that.
that.
It's so good. It's so good. Like, how are you predicting elections?
I did not call either way because I'm smarter than that.
It's interesting. It
Mhm.
just doesn't feel like Boimler, and I'm kind of waiting for the rubber band to snap back and for him to return to some version, maybe an evolved, more mature,
Mhm.
but a version of Boimler that we know.
Yeah.
Like he literally is at the point where Ma says,
yes, Chibi,
needs-
like Picard and all good things, he made the food.
It's like a chicken and egg. That's my Picard impression.
I'm looking at Boimler and go, you volunteered to be sacrificed. Like, get a grip, buddy.
Yeah.
He seems unhinged.
Yeah, agreed, Paul.
So of our 3 sort of tasks that are given in the Klingon storyline, we have the shock wands, the pain wands, and then we have them having to essentially tie up a really big hog, a targ. And then we have the pick someone to kill them, but then we like reverse engineer that situation. Which trial would you want to have to participate in if forced to do so?
Thinking silence is probably not a great audio
option.
experience for the podcast.
So here, like,
yeah, think it through.
I've been known to have this conversation and go like, how in some ways I guess like, how do you want to die? That's why I ask people.
Peacefully in my sleep.
That is a very common answer for the weak.
Hey.
Like,
sign me up for the no pain option.
So I maintain that the correct answer is wood chipper.
That's about as painful as being set on fire. So I'm out on that.
Have you ever thrown anything into an actual wood chipper, Paul?
Not that they survived. No,
I'm saying, have you ever thrown anything into a wood chipper?
No.
They're slow.
Here's my thought process. Like, let's say the first, the easiest thing to die, the most painless way is probably Q snaps you out of existence. Boom, you're gone. That's it.
Right.
That's a good one. Yes.
But like a real crappy way to die is to have every cell of your body be burnt one by one, because it'd be slow and awful and painful, right? But it would be a fairly unique experience. So what you kind of want to do, in my opinion, is to have a unique experience, but not so long that that it feels it's too long. So like, I think I can take 30 or 40 seconds of like being mauled by
a Klingon.
No,
a targ, a massive targ.
No, the targ is gonna like this is the pain stick one. Like
I was also gonna take the pain stick because it's like you can find ways to deal with the way electricity travels. I've also touched a few electric fences in my life, and it's an experience.
The two of you have this habit of making these statements that come across of saying like, oh yeah, I went into the kitchen and I grabbed a piece of cake, right? Very common where it's like you say it in a way that everyone can relate to having that experience. On Thanksgiving, I like pecan pie. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I can relate to that. I like pecan pie. I don't. And you say things like, I, in my lifetime, have a couple times have touched an electric fence, and then you try and move on from that. Like, yeah, who hasn't touched an electric fence a couple times? Like,
you
course
know,
you
you
guys
have
have.
kids, you're hanging out at your family's like, you know, kind of rural place, and there's an electric fence, and you play
Yeah.
this game where you try to
No,
get your little
no.
siblings to touch the electric fence. But what they don't know is that you're actually just reaching around it and not actually touching it, and you're just acting. And then you get them to touch the electric fence.
And that's what I did with the wood chipper with my brother. Rest in peace.
Jeez.
Guys,
No, I didn't do that,
not
everyone.
dark.
God,
We
calm
didn't
down.
say
It's like,
dark.
it's a joke. It's a joke.
You know, but then as punishment, you touch the electric fence because you feel bad, because you're like, well, how bad was it that you made your
Bad.
sibling touch this
I
electric?
assume
It's not
it's
that bad.
very
It's not
bad.
that bad.
So
It's a
here's
low voltage cattle fence. It's
So-
fine.
so here's what they did, an experiment, a psychological experiment. This is experiment talk. Or I like hashtag mind benders with Paul, Mariah, and Clyde. Okay, so that experience, like, basically you're in a room and you just have to wait for someone to come in. And there are two
Oh,
rooms.
I've read about this experiment.
One
Yeah.
room there's nothing, and
Mhm.
one room there is a machine that shocks you.
Oh, I read about the one that there was like food in one of the rooms.
Oh, no,
And I've read the experiment where there's somebody in the other room and you press a button to shock them.
yeah, I've done it, like, anyway, doesn't matter. But so what they found is that people would prefer to be shocked than to just wait and do nothing. And here's why: because the frustration of waiting, like, people want stimuli. You think that they don't want stimuli. They don't want to be overloaded, like with wood chipper or electric fence. But, like, but
Little
in
boop.
but in the end, like, people don't like a lack of stimuli. They're always chasing that dopamine or pain plus dopamine. It's addiction, right?
Yeah.
So in that way, like, I can see why touching the fence. I would be interested to be shocked by the fence.
Yeah,
Paul,
it's a curiosity.
you're absolutely. I'm going to agree with you on this case because
You're going to agree with me.
I'm going to agree with you.
Love it.
When I was in
love it.
grad school, I had to take a group dynamics class, and part
Mhm.
of that class was you had to do this intensive weekend long experiment, right? Like they're going to put you in this in groups, like a large group and small groups, and they're watching what happens and stuff like that. Well, one of the things was they put us in a large room. So you probably have like 200 people in this room. And no one comes in to start a session or anything. So you're just 200 people sitting in a room, see what happens. Now, for some of us, we're looking at this and going, okay, I see the experiment here, so I'm going to chill. But there's a handful of people who it's driving them absolutely insane that nothing's happened. And they look like they're just about to like implode because they're like, well, we've got to figure out what we're doing. I'm just like, dude, just chill, like, relax.
No,
He's like, no, there's something here, and then it's just they need that thing, and so
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
I can see your point.
Like, people are addicts.
Going back to the Star Trek episode that we're talking about.
Really?
Oh,
did
wait. Are we talking about Star Trek? Is it hot
we
dog
are
talk?
indeed. No more hot dog talk, but I did really like the progression of Maha's brother throughout this episode. I thought that was like a really good example of just like the character development that is possible on this show, even within a short amount of time. I also appreciate, like, on the other side, it's like, while we see character development that can happen in a singular episode, we see this like slow burn of our main season plot and don't have to be like, eventually this episode was about investigating the time rifts, but it wasn't all about investigating the time rifts, which I thought, and I appreciated.
No, I love it. Like, I think this is probably the best Klingon episode I've seen all.
Oh, it was the closest I've gotten to the Klingon Game of Thrones style show that I have always wanted.
Yeah. I mean, it was fantastic. And to your point, Mariah, I love the brother. His brotherly side chatter was hilarious, especially when the Klingon woman was in the bar. By the way, as a side, boob window is just a hilarious word.
Boob window is a great term.
It's just a great term. And so, but every time he would say something and his brother would go, just make these comments. I couldn't stop laughing. Like those were the moments. And so I thought their dynamic felt authentically like sibling to me.
Agreed.
And I thought that their transition from being incredibly frustrated with each other at the beginning to having this trial that they go through and then ultimately being like, hey, let's do this together was great
gosh.
until he impaled himself with the
I know.
bone of some
I
sort.
was like,
Ruined
That's,
it.
that's exactly how me and my brother felt when I put him through the wood chipper.
The wood chipper. I was laughing so hard when he's like, I could see Coalesce, the original one, the one that did impression.
I left. I was laughing too. I was dying at that one.
It was so good. It was so good. But I thought there was actually quite a few Easter eggs that I like couldn't in time get through all of them because there's so much stuff just in Klingon that is like back references to other episodes of TNG. Like I kind of made the reference at the top, but Experience Beige is like an insult that is and it's an incredible reaction gif. If you just go onto YouTube, I'll post it on the Slack later, but there's just this like great like Klingon face from TNG when he's like, Experience Beige.
That was a moment that during the watch along people were kind of like laughing and chatting away Experience Beige in the chat.
It was great. I'm gonna start yelling that in traffic now.
There you go.
It's a good insult. The other thing I wanted to bring up as far as another fun casting choice was the oversight counselor, and Aj was voiced by Dulce Sloan, who, if you remember last season, I talked about how she, on some podcasts I listened to, talked about how much she loves Star Trek and how she's always wanted to play a Klingon, and now she has. She's been a Klingon. Wow. I was very excited for her.
Goals, everyone. Goals.
What is that from? Oh, Experience Beige. I'll put the video up in the Patreon in the Slack. But it's also been made. It's like the title of like a card game and like a board game, I think, as well, like a Klingon themed board game.
Yeah.
So it's something that's definitely been picked up and
culture
carried through the culture. Yeah, I mean, as far as anything else with Migli Mo, I really liked when Tendi, her dice work was, she's like, oh, it pays to have assassin skills.
Yep.
I like how that carries over into chopping up all of that stuff. That crazy fish that they prepared looked really wild.
Yeah, that scene with them helping felt very Strange New World to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Love it. Yeah.
And so I kind of like that as this works.
I'll see it.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this episode. I think it was one of the better insights into Klingons that we've had in quite a long time.
You're a big Klingon fan.
I do love the Klingons. And we got to see, at this point, there seems to be multiple like houses running different parts of the empire, and that they all have different kind of views of things. And so I think that's just like an interesting insight to what's going on with them. And more fodder for my brain to think about in how we have a Game of Thrones style dramatic family drama of Klingons. I will have it one day.
I also liked Freeman in this one.
Standing up for her crew and like
and yeah, standing up for crew, but just a lot of like the little comments, like
the snark when they first get there.
Yes, Migli Mo, take them before I say something I can't take back. Like something very undiplomatic.
Yeah,
like, I was like, it was just I thought Freeman was composed and probably one of her better, like just pure captain, not like dealing with any mariner issues or emotions or insecurity. I thought she was pretty straightforward this episode and pretty good.
I also thought the bodyguards for the two diplomats on board were really funny and would eventually those would be such a deep cut cosplay costume idea.
Sure.
It could be really fun.
That's a deep cut that's almost like a password. Like if you dress at them, anyone who got it, you'd be like, you're my people.
Yeah, You'd be like, oh, you're a coalition bodyguard. Like,
yes. Like, I'd be like, okay, I need to kick it with you. Let's go grab a beer.
yeah, it would be really funny. Anything else to say about this episode, y'all? I'll definitely go back and rewatch it for more Easter eggs.
Yeah, I got nothing. Like, I think we talked about it all. Like, obviously, we agreed that that paint sticks and wood chippers are effectively the same thing.
Sure.
And
Those are your words.
And that Clyde, like, will not see Stovercore or the way he chooses to go.
You're right. I'm okay with that.
It's okay. We'll see Cullis, the original one.
The original one, right?
The original one. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We hope you are safe and that you are surrounded by people who are in your community. Reach out to others in your circle. We are here to save ourselves. And yeah, go, I don't know, like eat a billionaire sometime. That sounds about all I can say.
Yeah. If you need a place to hang where people will care about you, join our Patreon and come hang out on the Slack.
Please do. We'll see you all very soon. Live long and prosper. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Patak.
Patak.